Notre Dame football has a new outlook.
With LASIK, I returned to where I used to be as a college student, as a college athlete, in terms of my vision. So Dr. Bowling really enhanced my ability to do my job again by making things crystal clear, because the game is played at such a depth that you need great vision to be able to make great decisions.
Get a new outlook from the Bowling Laser Center. Call today, 283-8393.
On January 1st, Tyrone Willingham was announced as Notre Dame's new head coach. He revamped the coaching staff, replacing all but one assistant from the 2001 season. He also changed the way the Irish would attack when they had the ball, implementing the vaunted West Coast offense. He began to instill a confidence in players that had been missing, a confidence that only grew stronger as each week passed. By the time two-a-day practice sessions rolled around in August, Willingham not only had the players excited about Notre Dame's prospects for 2002, but the fans were also excited. And little did they know just how much excitement they were in for during the 2002 campaign. Notre Dame got its season rolling in the 20th and final Kickoff Classic. For the first time in 7 seasons, the Irish returned to Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands. Notre Dame looked to go 10-0 all-time in the swamps of North Jersey. On paper, this looked to be no simple task. The Irish were coming off a losing season for only the 11th time, while their opponent Maryland was the reigning ACC champion led by offensive guru Ralph Friedman. Many thought the Terps would dominate the football game. One unit would dominate the game, but it wasn't the Maryland offense. It was Notre Dame's defense. Star cornerback Shane Walton picked off Maryland's Scott McBrien on only the 3rd play of the game. It was the first of 3 interceptions for the senior leader, the first time in 20 years a Notre Dame defender registered 3 picks. While Walton was the game's defensive star, place kicker Nicholas Setta had the game of his career, taking home the Kickoff Classic Most Valuable Player award. 3 plays after the Walton interception, Setta missed a gargantuan 56-yard field goal. That would be the last time he missed the mark all night. The next time the Irish got the ball, he lined up 51 yards away and drilled the 3-pointer right through the uprights. Not only was it a personal best for the senior, it was also a Kickoff Classic record. Setta put all the points on the board in the first half, connecting from 32 and then 18 yards in the second period. The Irish took a 9-0 lead to the locker room. Now, while the Irish offense would not find the end zone in the season opener, their special teams would. Only minutes into the second half, Vontez Duff caught a Terps punt at his own 24-yard line.
Here's the punt. Nice one by Bernard. Here's Vontez Duff to the 25, to the 30, 35, to the 40. Man to beat. He's at the 50. Cut to the right. 40, 35, 30. Race to the goal line. They're not going to get him. He's going all the way. 75-yard touchdown. Vontez Duff.
Nick Setta drilled the extra point, but Setta would not be finished scoring. The Irish kicker tied a school record, kicking 2 more field goals, one in the 3rd period, the other to begin the 4th. Setta put 16 of Notre Dame's 22 points on the board as the Irish blanked the Terrapins 22-0. And Tyrone Willingham became the first Irish coach to debut with a shutout since Terry Brennan in 1954.
In order for you to win big ball games, you're going to need, certain, parts of your team to, execute on whatever you have to do. And I think for the most part, we worked as a team on Saturday.
We have great players all around. We got some hidden talent, and it showed up in this game. And that's one thing that we know, that coming out as a defense, that we have to have those playmakers to step up. When guys are down, we need other guys to step in and be playmakers.
The following week, Notre Dame returned home to host in-state rival Purdue, and the Irish would face a much tougher challenge than they got a week earlier. After a scoreless first quarter, the way the Irish played the first 10 minutes of the second quarter was eerily reminiscent of their tough play the week before. Safety Jerome Sapp got the Irish going.
Morton with a screen to the near side. The screen is well played. Fumble on the play. The Irish pick it up. It's Sapp at the 45. Sapp at the 40. Sapp hits, spins out of a tackle. He's got blockers. He's down to the 20. Ain't going to get him. He's in. Touchdown Irish. Jerome Sapp out of Arlington, Texas.
Then, only 9 seconds later, on the ensuing kickoff, reserve defensive back Lionel Bolin found himself in the right place at the right time as the ball popped off the Purdue returner and into the air.
Oh, there's an interception, and he had touchdown again for the Irish. The Purdue returner was hit, the ball popped right up in the air, and he grabbed it and ran 4 yards for a touchdown. They have mobbed him in the end zone.
Nicholas Seta added a field goal a few minutes later. The Irish had outscored their opponents 39-zip to that point. They had not yet scored an offensive touchdown themselves. But just before the half, Purdue would end the season-long shutout when Anthony Chambers returned a Joey Hillbold punt all the way for a touchdown. In the second half, Purdue added a rushing touchdown. Then, only 7 seconds into the fourth quarter, the Boilers tied the game with a field goal. Notre Dame had 2 chances to take the lead back in the fourth, but Nicholas Seta missed 2 field goals, and the game stayed tied late in the period. But then the Irish defense showed its magic once again. Cornerback Vontez Duff intercepted a Kyle Wharton pass and darted down the sideline to the end zone.
Intercepted, picked off, 25, 20, 15, 10, Duff, 5, Duff, end zone, yes, touchdown, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame won 24-17 and was now 2-0 on the year, despite the fact they had still not scored an offensive touchdown.
I focus on playing defense. You know, that's my job. I'm a cornerback, and I love playing the position. And once I get the ball in my hands, I want to score with it.
I told them, don't fall for the hype. The number one thing that has to happen on every Saturday afternoon is you got to win. And we did that, and that is a great accomplishment.
For the first time since Notre Dame knocked off the defending national champs in the 1998 season opener, Michigan came across the border to Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame didn't take long to get going against the 7th-ranked team in the nation. Carlisle Holiday hit freshman sensation Maurice Stovall with a 41-yard bomb to put the Irish in Michigan territory. Later, Ryan Grant capped the 11-play drive with the first Notre Dame offensive touchdown of the season on a 1-yard scamper across the goal line. Michigan answered late in the first period when Marlon Jackson picked off a Carlisle Holiday pass and scored. The game would remain deadlocked until late in the second quarter when Michigan was flagged for holding Justin Tuck in the end zone. The result, a safety, giving the Irish a 9-7 lead. And with only 23 seconds left in the half, the Irish would add to their lead. Carlisle Holiday scored on a 3-yard keeper, and Notre Dame led 16-7 at the break. But all the scoring in the third period would be done by the Maize and Blue. A field goal made it 16-10 Irish. Then Michigan's Chris Perry scored in a touchdown in the waning seconds of the quarter. The extra point made it 17-16 Michigan, and Notre Dame trailed for the first time all season. The Irish wasted no time in retaking the lead. Holiday hit Omar Jenkins twice for gains of 29 and 47 yards.
Long downfield to Omar Jenkins, got it, 5, down to the 2, it's first and goal to go.
Ryan Grant then marched into the end zone from 3 yards out. Notre Dame went for 2, but the try failed. So the Irish led 22-17 with 13 minutes left to play in regulation. On the very next play, the Wolverines fumbled, and Irish safety Glenn Earl recovered. The Irish wouldn't get far on the ensuing series, but they were close enough for Seta to pad the lead with his first field goal of the day. Notre Dame led 25-17 when Michigan mounted a furious drive, going 81 yards in 11 plays to make the score 25-23 Notre Dame. The Wolverines tried to tie the game with a 2-point conversion, but Shane Walton was there to bat that try away.
Navarre back to throw, pump fakes, fires the pass, deflected away by Shane Walton. Shane Walton stepped in front of the intended receiver and batted it down.
Michigan had one last chance after stopping the Irish on the next series, but it was Walton once again.
Navarre back to throw, steps up, looks, fires the pass, intercepted, Walton at the 45, Walton down at the 40-yard line. Shane Walton with the interception.
With Notre Dame, that's who we are, no more, losing and making excuses. We're all about winning now.
The University of Michigan is one of the most respected universities, I think, in football. And therefore, when you have an opportunity to beat them, okay, it is special. Come in with a number 6 ranking, beating them with that is special. So, no, this was a lot of fun.
The Irish ventured into enemy territory for the first time all year when they took the 3-hour bus ride to East Lansing to face the Spartans. Once again, the Irish scored early, and this time they put themselves in position to score with some trickery.
Here's the toss. It goes to Arnaz Battle. Arnaz Battle's going to throw a pass to Carlisle Holiday. He's got it. A grab by Holiday. Diving catch down at the 19-yard line.
That set up a Ryan Grant touchdown, his third of the season, a 6-yard scamper. The Irish led 7-0. Michigan State made it 7-3 on a field goal late in the first quarter, and it stayed that way for more than 15 minutes. The Irish defense came up big again in the closing minutes of the second period. Shane Walton tipped a Jeff Smoker pass into the arms of safety Jerome Sapp, and Sapp brought the ball to the state 29-yard line. Notre Dame needed only 4 plays and a key pass interference call for Sapp's pick to pay dividends, as Holiday hit Maurice Stovall in the back of the end zone for 6. The Irish took a 14-3 lead to the locker room. Neither team scored in the third period, but Notre Dame suffered a major loss. Holiday went down hard on his left shoulder along the state sideline. That injury would sideline the starting signal caller for the rest of the game and put unproven former walk-on Pat Dillingham into the contest. And while the Irish struggled to get comfortable behind Dillingham, Michigan State's offense ignited. Early in the fourth, quarterback Jeff Smoker quickly led the Spartans down the field and hit superstar receiver Charles Rogers with a 38-yard pass for a score that cut the Irish lead to 14-10. Then, with less than 2 minutes left in the game, the Spartans faced 4th and 11 when Rogers made an amazing catch in the back of the end zone. It looked like the incredibly athletic Rogers caught the ball clearly out of bounds, but replays showed he had 1 foot down. The Spartan Stadium crowd erupted, and it looked like State would beat the Irish once again with fourth quarter magic. But all the fourth quarter magic had not been used up yet in East Lansing. With only 1:15 remaining in the game, Dillingham hooked up with Battle for the improbable 60-yard pass play for a score.
Quick throw. Battle. 50. Battle. 45. Outside 40. 30. Down to the 25. 20. 15. 10. 5. Touchdown Irish. Arnaz Battle from Dillingham.
What a great play.
Tremendous play by Dillingham to Battle. 60 yards, and Notre Dame has taken a 20-17 lead. 60 yards.
There was one last try by the Spartans, but it failed. As Sapp picked off Smoker to win the game, the Irish had ended State's 5-game winning streak in the series, and Notre Dame stood 4-0 for the first time since 1993.
I think our guys knew that we have the ability to come back if we'll just be poised and just stay true to ourselves and our team. And somebody in the room is going to make a play.
I mean, if you had asked me last year if I'd be standing at this podium right now, I'd probably say no. But, I mean, so much stuff happened in spring, you know, with Matt leaving and Jared going to tight end that, I mean, it just shows you that your opportunity will come and you better be ready.
In East Lansing, Coach Tyrone Willingham had faced his alma mater. Now, after a week off, the school he coached last season paid a visit to South Bend. The Stanford Cardinal came to Notre Dame Stadium led by Buddy Tevens, and Willingham's old team jumped out to an early 7-0 lead on the Irish when Teo Johnson caught a touchdown pass. Notre Dame, led again by Pat Dillingham while Carlisle Holiday nursed a shoulder injury, got off to a very slow start. The Irish could only muster a field goal on offense in the first half and trailed 7-3 at the break. But in one 6-minute, 54-second chunk of the second half, the Irish were unstoppable. Rashawn Powers-Neal put the Irish in the lead with his first score ever, a 3-yard dash. Notre Dame was up 10-7, but that was only the beginning of a lightning-quick onslaught. 24 seconds later, Shane Walton intercepted a Chris Lewis pass and took it home, putting the Irish ahead by 10.
Rush from the left side. Pressure. Lewis hit. Intercepted. Picked off. Walton. 10-5. Touchdown Irish. Shane Walton did it. Picked it off. And big pressure from the left side. An errant throw by Lewis. And the defense scores again.
Then less than 3 minutes later, linebacker Courtney Watson wrestled the ball away from a Stanford receiver. He would find the end zone. Notre Dame would have a 24-7 lead.
Lewis to throw, fired the pass, stolen away by Watson. 10-5, touchdown Notre Dame. Watson stole the ball away right out of the hands of Alex Smith. Raced down the left sideline for a score. Holy moly.
Finally, not to be outdone, Irish tailback Ryan Grant kept a 100-yard day with a 1-yard TD run. The Irish stomped the Cardinal 31-7, and for the first time in 5 seasons, 2 Irish running backs, Grant and Powers Neal, broke the 100-yard mark in the same game.
When you're winning, it makes things so much easier. It makes going to class, going to practice, waking up in the morning after the game, of course, that makes everything so much easier. And I mean, winning is a habit, Vince Lombardi once said, and I think our team is in that habit right now.
Our goal is to go in and create 3 turnovers every game and score at least once. So, who knows? As long as we keep doing what we're doing now, it shouldn't change.
There are a lot of football games to go, and the good football teams understand that it's simply one game at a time. And if we'll keep that mindset, then we'll have a chance to be a good football team.
The truly special teams find a way to win, even when they aren't at their very best. And on the second Saturday in October, Tyrone Willingham's team did just that. Notre Dame's defense was repeatedly tested and held Pittsburgh short of the end zone all game long. The Panthers outgained the Irish 2-1, but were only able to put 2 field goals on the board all day. Irish defenders sacked Panther quarterback Rod Rutherford 8 times. Sophomore defensive end Justin Tuck and senior defensive end Ryan Roberts each took Rutherford down twice. Senior Arnaz Battle was the star of the game on offense. He caught 10 passes for 101 yards. In the first half, the wideout kept an 80-yard drive alive twice with clutch catches on 3rd down. Then number 3 showed off some incredible footwork, hauling in a fade pass from Carlisle Holiday in the end zone, making sure to get a foot down in bounds. In the second half, star punter Joey Hillbolt pinned Pittsburgh inside its own 10 twice. His second key punt set up a huge turnover for Notre Dame. Safety Glenn Earl forced Rutherford to fumble deep in Panther territory, giving the Irish the ball on the Pittsburgh 12. Notre Dame needed only 5 plays from there to punch the ball in for their second and final score of the game. Ryan Grant plowed in from the 1 to put the Irish ahead 14-6. Pittsburgh would have one last chance. Panthers drove all the way to the Notre Dame 31. Notre Dame's defense would make another huge play as quarterback Preston Jackson added his name to the list of defensive heroes, sealing the win with an interception.
Somewhere earlier in the week, I was asked about this game, and I said, when you look at the 2 defenses, you could probably put up a mirror. And I think that's about what you saw, was 2 excellent defenses out there playing today. And our guys responded in just a manner that a good football team has to respond. They stepped it up, and they had confidence in themselves, and they made the big plays at the right time.
The next week, the eyes of the nation were fixed in prime time on Colorado Springs. There, Notre Dame and Air Force met in the last battle of unbeatens for 2002. Coming into the game, analysts were focused on the Air Force offense and Notre Dame's defense. By the time 56,000 plus left Falcon Stadium, it was the Notre Dame offense that was on most of their minds. Running back Ryan Grant picked up 190 yards on the ground, while Carlisle Holiday added another 71 yards rushing and completed 8 passes, all to Arnaz Battle, good for 112 yards. Early in the game, Notre Dame would spot the Falcons an early lead, but Holiday quickly recovered. On the next series after the Air Force score, the quarterback converted a 3rd down pass to Battle. Then later in the drive, he took off on his own, rumbling 53 yards to tie the game.
Gets to the 45, gets to the 50, down to the 45. He's at the 40, down to the 35, at the 30, down to the 25, 10, 5, end zone, touchdown Notre Dame. Carlisle Holiday has just run 53 yards to make it 7-6.
Just before halftime, Notre Dame padded its lead. The Irish marched down the field on a 12-play drive, capped off when Grant raced 18 yards for the touchdown.
Handoff goes to Grant. Big opening up the middle. Cuts to the outside. 10, 5. They're not going to get him. 2. Touchdown Irish.
Great run by Ryan Grant.
The Air Force would tie the game at 14, but Notre Dame would bounce right back. Vontez Duff would return a kickoff 31 yards, giving the Irish good field position. Notre Dame used that to spark a 58-yard drive that took more than 5 minutes off the clock and ended when Holiday ran the ball in for a score from a yard out. After that touchdown, there were more than 20 minutes left in the game. The Irish never allowed the Falcons to cross into Notre Dame territory. The battle of unbeatens ended with Notre Dame on top of Air Force 21-14.
Coming into the game, we're underdogs. And, it just shows that, people around the country still don't really respect, our team. So, going in there and beating them and just playing them just made us feel like, we were moving towards something special.
This is what we come here for, to play in these type of games. Every week, this is what we look forward to.
For the Irish the following week, it was another Saturday and another visit to a top 20 team as Notre Dame ventured to Tallahassee for the first time ever to take on number 11, Florida State. Notre Dame entered the Sunshine State a double-digit underdog to the Seminoles, but only needed one offensive play to convert many of the non-believers.
Out of the eye, play action fake. Holiday rolling out to the right, looking to throw. Throwing long downfield, got a man downfield. Battle at the 25, at the 20, the 15, at the 10, on an angle, 5, he'll score. Touchdown Notre Dame, 65 yards on the first play. Carlisle Holiday to Arnaz Battle.
Oh, Tony, you talk about lighting it up. Notre Dame with the play action to start it off.
Florida State would hit a 24-yard first-quarter field goal, but Nicholas Setta put the lead back at 7 when he punched a three-pointer of his own in from 39 yards out. Florida State tied the game with the only score of the second quarter. Torrance Washington kept a 93-yard drive with a 1-yard run, and it looked like another classic battle was developing between two of college football's most storied programs. At halftime, the game was tied at 10. Both teams traded punts for most of the third quarter until the Irish tore away from the Noles in one 2-minute, 21-second burst, keyed by, what else, forced turnovers. Courtney Watson had the first one, intercepting quarterback Chris Ricks.
Back to throw, rifles a pass, intercepted by Notre Dame. Picked off at the 45 with blockers. Down to the 30, down to the 25, and inside the 25, it's Courtney Watson down to the 22. The game's first turnover.
Nicholas Setta then drilled a 35-yard field goal, and the Irish led 13-10. 2 plays later, it was Glenn Earl and Vontez Duff combining to turn some turnover magic.
Being chased by Courtney Watson. Spins, fumble on the play. Who's got the ball? Notre Dame, I believe, may have it. Notre Dame's got it first down at the 1-yard line. Ricks hit, fumbled the football.
Then Ryan Grant took a pitch from Holiday into the end zone on the next play, and the lead had now reached double digits. But the third quarter blitz had one more act. This time it was special teams getting the job done.
Oh! Notre Dame recovers the ball on the kickoff. A line drive kick came down to Washington, and Brandon Hoyt, I believe, came up with a fumble.
It took only 3 plays for the Irish to go up 27-10.
Holiday looking, throwing, pass intended for Jenkins, got it! Touchdown, Omar Jenkins! Oh, his family's going to be so happy. Omar Jenkins, over the shoulder grab.
The Irish gave a new meaning to the term 2-minute drill, hammering the Noles into the ground with their 17-point outburst. Many of the 84,000-plus in Doak Campbell Stadium sat stunned, except, of course, for members of the Sea of Green who made the trip south. In the fourth quarter, Ryan Grant would add another score, this one a 31-yard run to pay dirt. Late in the game, Florida State would score a pair of touchdowns, but was well short of the Irish on this day. Notre Dame took a 34-24 win home to South Bend, and for the first time in the history of Notre Dame football, the Irish were victorious over 2 top 20 teams on the road in consecutive weeks.
As long as we keep winning the ball games, I don't care how we do it. If we need to score 50 points on defense and offense score 50 points and we win 199, that'd be a good score to me. But, it's something that we want to do. Said time and time again, it's something that we have pride in on our defense is creating turnovers.
If everyone's going hard, good things are going to happen. And, if you don't protect the football,
we're going to take it from you. And that's just what happened yesterday.
All year long, head coach Tyrone Willingham asked for the Irish fans to make a sea of green part of Notre Dame Stadium. The game against Boston College, his team would join the tens of thousands sporting Kelly green as Notre Dame wore green on the football field for the first time since 1999. Unfortunately, the jerseys, which spurred on so many great Notre Dame moments over the years, would not bring the necessary Notre Dame magic on this November afternoon. Notre Dame would turn the ball over 5 times against Boston College, and the Eagles would capitalize on 2 of those miscues, and that would prove to be enough. Boston College handed Notre Dame its first loss of the year, 14-7.
Boston College did some very good things. They put themselves in a position to win, and that in some cases we did not execute the way that we needed to as a football team to be victorious. So what we've got to do is challenge ourselves to put this behind us and move forward to the next ball game.
Next, it was on to Baltimore, where the Irish would renew the nation's longest-running intersectional rivalry with Navy. The midshipmen seemed hopelessly outgunned by the Irish, but like so many times in the history of this series, Navy played Notre Dame very tough. Notre Dame got the scoring started when, after a bad snap, Carlos Campbell tackled Navy's punter in the end zone for a safety. The Navy would lead the game at the end of the first quarter after backup quarterback Aaron Polanco rushed in on a 12-yard scamper. Irish senior fullback Tom Lipinski would put the Irish back in front with a 1-yard burst to the end zone early in the second period. At halftime, Notre Dame led 9-7. The midshipmen, though, dominated the third quarter. Navy scored on runs of 1 and 10 and added a field goal. Navy tallied 16 points in the period to lead 23-15. The only bright spot during the quarter came from Vontez Duff.
Here's the kick. It's coming down. It's going to be taken by Vontez Duff at the 9, 10, 15 to the 20, 25. Gets to the 30. Break to the outside at the 40. Got a man to beat at the 50. He's going to go all the way down to the 20. It'll be an 81-yard touchdown run by Vontez Duff.
The junior returned a kickoff 92 yards for a touchdown, becoming the first player in Notre Dame football history to return a kickoff, a punt, and an interception for a score, all in the same season. In the fourth quarter, more than 10 minutes had ticked away with the Irish still trailing by 8. But then in a quick burst, the Irish offense shook off the slumber. Carlisle Holiday connected with Omar Jenkins for a 29-yard pass play, brought the Irish to the Navy 2. Rashawn Powers-Neal later punched the ball in from a yard out to cut the Navy lead to 2. And Notre Dame quickly tied the game when Holiday hit Arnaz Battle for a 2-point conversion.
Lob, near side, 2 points, Arnaz Battle, and this game is tied at 23-23.
With a little more than 2 minutes left in the game, it was big play time as Holiday would hit Jenkins deep again.
Play action fake, Holiday rolling, throwing long, downfield, Omar Jenkins at the 25, at the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Irish! 67 yards! Carlisle Holiday to Omar Jenkins, and Notre Dame has taken a 29-23 lead.
Navy still had 2 more chances in the winning moments, but an interception by Glenn Earl and another one by Courtney Watson would seal the victory. Notre Dame's 39 over Navy, the final 30-23 Irish.
Our football team showed a great deal of character. It would have been very easy for this football team or any football team to just kind of let it go and say, oh, it's not our day. But we've had 2 back-to-back tough weekends, and our guys found a way to respond. And that is always encouraging because you win great games with character.
At times during the 2002 season, Notre Dame's offense struggled to find a rhythm. But against Rutgers on November 23rd at Notre Dame Stadium was not one of those days. Notre Dame breezed past the Scarlet Knights as Tyrone Willingham became the first rookie head coach in Notre Dame football history to post at least 10 victories. After a scoreless first quarter, Notre Dame dominated Rutgers in all areas of the game. The scoring began when Carlisle Holiday hit Arnaz Battle over the middle, and the star wideout took off down the field, through the Rutgers defense and into the end zone. 4 minutes later, the Irish tallied yet another defensive score when Shane Walton grabbed a pass off his shoestrings after it had bounced off the back of a Rutgers lineman.
Down the sideline, 10-5. Notre Dame scores a touchdown on a turnover.
The Irish sealed the blowout early in the third quarter. On only the second play of the period, Holiday had battled for 6 yet again.
Slot left, tight end right. Play action fake to Ryan Grant. Going for it all alone. Battle at the 25, 20, 15, 10. He dodges a tackler into the end zone. Touchdown Notre Dame. 63 yards from Holiday to Battle.
Notre Dame quickly got the ball back on a Rutgers punt, and just as quickly, the Irish would pad the lead.
To the right, looking to throw. Long pass downfield. Jenkins got it. 5, touchdown Irish. Omar Jenkins. 37 yards for the score.
The Irish were only half finished with their third quarter scoring barrage. Notre Dame scored yet again on their third possession of the half. This time, it was Ryan Grant who rumbled up the east sideline from 26 yards out for the score. The Irish then tallied its last home touchdown of the 2002 season. 3 minutes later, it was Holiday scrambling to his right and finding Maurice Stovall in the end zone to make the score 42-0. It was a game of superlatives for the Irish. Holiday tied a school record with 4 touchdown passes, while the 28 points Notre Dame scored in the third was the most ever in that quarter in the history of Notre Dame football. Tyrone Willingham was able to empty his bench in the fourth quarter, and 75 members of the Irish got into the game. Most notably, Irish reserve tailback Tim O'Neill, who rushed for a career-high 52 yards on 6 carries in the home finale. Next, it was on to Los Angeles, where Notre Dame renewed one of the greatest rivalries in all of college sport. Notre Dame traveled west to meet USC. For the first time in 14 years, the Irish and Trojans were both in the top 10 as the game began. Notre Dame scored first when Nicholas Setta kicked a 34-yard field goal in the first quarter. Then the Irish got another great play from special teams when reserve linebacker Pat Ryan pounced on the football after USC fumbled the kickoff. Notre Dame would add 3 more points off that Trojan miscue when Setta drilled a 32-yard field goal. USC would take the lead on a Carson Palmer to Mike Williams touchdown pass, then pad it with a field goal of its own to make it 10-6 Trojans. Then, for one last time in the 2002 season, special teams would come up big for Notre Dame.
Gets the snap, and the punt block! Block going to the end zone! Irish gonna get it! Touchdown Notre Dame! Carlos Pierre-Antoine was the man who blocked the punt. Came up with a big play.
Unfortunately, that would be all the magic Notre Dame could muster the rest of the night in Southern California, as USC added a touchdown in the waning seconds of the first half to go ahead for good 17-13. In the second half, USC senior All-America quarterback Carson Palmer took the game over, leading his troops down the field several times for scores. USC would win back the Shillelagh 44-13. While the season did not end with the win over USC that Irish fans had hoped for, that certainly did not take away from all Notre Dame accomplished in 2002. Tyrone Willingham set a record for rookie Irish head coaches with 10 wins. Players like Shane Walton, Jeff Bain, and Courtney Watson established themselves among the best at their positions in the nation. And Notre Dame headed to a bowl game, not too shabby considering where the Irish stood only 1 year earlier at 5-6. Most importantly, though, Notre Dame was again on the national stage. Millions tuned into Irish games around the nation, and it was tough to pick up a paper or magazine and not read about the Irish resurgence. Notre Dame football truly was back.